Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So this week we are on with this machine here. So what this is a bale chaser. So it goes on the back of a tractor obviously, like a trailer, and then it's used to collect square bales up out of the field. And then once you've got it full, the whole lot tips up like a normal, like a tipping trailer like this, and then drops them off in a stack. But it's, for what it is, it's a fairly complicated thing. I have a video of it when he was folding it back up again. I haven't got a video of it working, but basically I ain't sure why that one's down. I think the ram must leak a bit. That one should be folded up like this one. And then when you use it, the drawbar slides across and it also extends out, and then it goes offset, so that's like sticking out at the side of the tractor. And then this bit here is on like a slider, so that slides out, that folds down, and then there's two spikes on the end of there. Then on in front of your tractor you have like a nudge bar, because square bales, as they come out the back of the baler, they're like the same way as a tractor, but this needs them the other way on so you can pick them up. So you have a nudge bar on the front of your tractor that you nudge the bale around so it's like long ways on. And these spikes, because it's offset and they're folded down, the spikes are facing forward. They stick the bale and then it flips the bale up, sort of like it is now, sits it on there. And then, so you'd sit one on the front and then you'd go to another one, pick it up, and that'd stack it on top of the first bale. And then because that's on like a slider, then it pushes them two back. And then the same process happens again, so you just keep picking another two up, it pushes them back, you pick another two up, it pushes them back, until the whole thing is full. And then when you get to where you're unloading, these fold down like that one is now, I think. Then the whole thing tips up like a tipping trailer, and then you drive forward and then leave the bales where they are but stacked up. So it's a more efficient way of collecting the bales out of the field rather than having to go with two machines or having to drop your trailer off a tractor and a loader. You just go with this. It's a lot quicker. So I've just had a quick look on YouTube and I found a video of one actually working. So you can see here he's got it on the back of a John Deere tractor. You can see his nudge bar on the front there. So he'll nudge the bale round, tines come down, gets lined up with the bale, stabs the bale, and then stacks it on top of one he's already got on there. It looks like he's not used his nudge bar for this next bale, he's just got lined up with it. Stacks it on the front, and then puts his last one on. And then when he wants to unload, them arms fold down at the side, and then he tips the whole lot up, backs up to where he's already been stacking some of the bales. So all the weight's sat on them like big long pallet tines at the back now. And it tips them up completely, and then just drives forward and leaves them there. Yeah, the issue with this is because there's quite a few, there's like a linkage there, so they're worn. I think the pivot, everything's worn on that bit, so there's quite a lot of slack. If you grab hold of them tines, you can wiggle the whole lot. There's quite a lot of slack in it. And then also underneath, there's some cracks on the chassis as well that need welding up, so that's to sort out. The trouble is I can't unfold it because the tractor that usually goes on has a proper control box with like a joystick, because there's that many different hydraulic services on it. You need a proper control box to work it, which I haven't got. So I'll see if I can lift that up first with the loader, put a strap around it, see if I lift it up, and then I'll put a little tractor on it and take it round to the workshop. I've got it lifted up to there, and it's not going up anymore now, it's just lifting the wheels off the ground. Obviously, I don't know whether that ram, whether the oil's leaking past that ram, I'm not sure, but anyway, don't want to go up anymore now. You'd think if it came down under its own weight, it'd lift back up again. Might have to undo one of the pipes on the ram and let the oil out the ram. I've got that folded back up again now, and then I put a ratchet strap around it to stop it coming back down. So yeah, I'm going to get a little tractor now, pick it up with the tractor and take it round to the workshop. Well, I've got it on the tractor, but because it's on air brakes, the air brakes are on all the time, so I couldn't move it. Anyway, I found a shunt button underneath here. You press that in and it's let the brakes off now. It's got its own air tank on it. It's only on air brakes, it doesn't have hydraulic brakes. It's on air suspension and air brakes. Anyway, we should be able to move it now. Hey, we're off. So I was planning on just taking that sliding bit out the front, bringing it around to the workshop and taking that sliding bit out the front. I must have forgot to video when I was explaining that bit though, so anyway, it'll make sense in a minute why I'm not going to take that bit out. I've got it dropped off outside the workshop, but I think I might have to have the whole thing actually in the workshop, because I just looked at the back and it has these bits on, and when you look, they go all the way to the front and join onto that frame that I was on about taking out. Now there's only 2 bolts that hold them on, I suppose, but if I undo the bolts, then they're going to drop down and land on all the pipes and air tanks and everything. There is also some cracks on the chassis that need welding up anyway, so I'm going to have it in the workshop to do them. Across there it's cracked off, there's a few other places it's cracked. I haven't fully investigated that lot yet. So yeah, I think I'm better bringing the whole lot in than trying to take it in bits outside. The only thing is I've still got my Leyland in here. I didn't really want to take that out until I've got what I was doing done. Otherwise, if I take it out now, then I'll probably not get around to doing it before I need it again. So I think I'll maybe just quickly get this turbo shield fastened on that I was on with in last week's video, and then I can take this out then and bring the bale chaser in. I've got this fastened in now, so I didn't record it because there wasn't much to see, but I've made a bracket that comes off there, comes up here, and then bolts on there. I haven't got any proper bolts yet, I've just put bolts in to line it up. I'll have to get some proper bolts. So that's on that side. Got the exhaust back on. I might just have to make this hole a little bit bigger so I can get that clamp on properly. It needs to be on further, otherwise it'll come off. And this side there wasn't really much to go off, so I've made a bracket that's going to bolt onto there. Again, I haven't got any bolts. They're like, I think they were 5/16 UNF. And then that bracket goes up round there, across there, and then it's bolt in there like that. Say in the BTPA rules that you're supposed to have supposed to be bolted on in 4 places, but I'm not pulling in the BTPA, so should be alright at that. So yeah, nothing's done up properly. Need to get some bolts, but at least it's sort of mounted now, so I can put the bonnet back down, put the pre-cleaner back on, side panels back on, and then take it out of the workshop. Right, we'll get it shifted out now, and then I can bring the bale chaser in. So I'll just move it to the JCB with this frame. It's a lot easier. It's the right carry on having to get it started just to move it, so it's just a lot easier just moving it where you need with that. Right, I've got it in the workshop now. A bit of a tight squeeze, it's only just to say in. But it's better than working on it outside. It's not raining today though. Yeah, so it's a Heath Super Chaser Extra. I was just looking on the plate. And they're made in East Yorkshire. And it was made in 2016. So now that I'm not going to take all that lot out, what I might just do is either take the pipe off this end of the ram or underneath where it goes to the spool block, and then drain the oil out of the ram and then pull this lot forward. So I don't really need it all the way out. I just thought if I did take it all the way out I wouldn't have to have the whole thing in here, but I only need this far enough forward so I can get to them bolts there, because I think they're worn as well, them pivots. So I just need that sort of out here somewhere. Or what else I could do is I could take both them pipes off from spool block and put quick release fittings on, put probes on the end like what's on the back of the tractor, plug it into the back of the tractor and then bring it forward with the ram rather than drain the oil out the ram. So I got that pipe disconnected. It's about on its last legs is that pipe. I'm putting a new one on because if that bursts in harvest, it doesn't look like it'll be far off bursting. But yeah, that's not going to be long enough to reach to the tractor anyway, so I think I'll just put that in a barrel and then pull that down. Might have to crack the other pipe off so the ram can suck air in to the other side. So that's that winch to the front, so I can get to these now. Just noticed that's ripped off there, it hasn't been welded on properly, that's broken off. I noticed that's cracked as well, not that that bit's very important, but it's, you see it's cracked, that's just for a wire to go through. I noticed there is a few other dodgy looking bits. And there's that pin in there, you can see that porosity around there as well. It looks pretty well made, it's maybe just not that well put together. But anyway, yeah, so I'll just show you what's wrong with this bit before I take it off. I don't know if I can do it one-handed, but when you grab hold of this tine, there's a lot of play and everything, and all them linkages. Yeah, it looks like it's a fair bit of wear and everything in them, as well as the rams, and everything's got a bit of wear in it. I think these have got a bit of wear in them. When you put a pry bar in there and wobble it, you can see everything's a bit wobbly. So I start from the top, take it in bits from the top, and put the tines of the forklift through there, lift this bit off, and then probably take the rams off, and then yeah, we'll strip it all down. Alright, that's the top frame off. You can see in there there's no bushes, it's just a bit of solid welded in there and then drilled through. So there's a bit of wear in that, it's not too bad, but it is worn. And this middle one does have an extra bit welded on that side, but that's worn. And that is quite worn. And then ones, they're a little bit worn as well. That maybe has a bush in it, I think. Yeah, that's got a replaceable bush in it. That's that side one. And the ram does have a bush in it because it's just fallen out. So that might have worn the end of the ram if that's just fallen out. Yeah, we'll have to have a closer investigation at that. And then there's this linkage, that's got bushes in it. They're worn. They're worn as well. They're a bit same. So that's the trouble with these linkages like this, is a little bit of wear in each one all adds up to being a lot when you come to the end of the tines. Right, next job, we'll take these rams off, take the remaining bit of frame off. can see how bad that one is. So that's that off as well. It's pretty dry of them. Doesn't look like they've been greased. Everything else looks pretty well greased, but they're dry. There's a wear on the bolt as well. And a lot of wear in there. I'm going to sort these holes out first before I take the rams out and make sure my plan is going to work. So what a lot of people would do is they just leave these holes and they just weld a bush on the outside. But I don't really like that idea, it's just a bit bodgy. And then you're making the distance between there wider. So you're sort of putting a bending force on your pin rather than a shear force. And it's just sort of an unskilled way of doing it. I'm going to try and do this properly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a hole, a big hole around there, and then make like a top hat bush that I weld around here and also weld round on the inside, so it'll be stepped. So it'll be, if I cut out like 50mm, the bit that will go in there will be slightly smaller than 50mm, and the bit on this side will be 60mm. I'll have to chop that bit off, but I think the way I'm going to do that is I've drilled a centre hole in the middle of that pin. I'll put that through like that, and then I've got the mag drill and I've got a hole saw. It would be better with a proper rotor broach bit for it, but I haven't got a 50mm cutter and my local supplier doesn't have one either, so I'm going to try it with that. So I'm going to line the pilot drill up with the centre of that. I know that hole is worn, but if it's sort of sat at the bottom of the hole, it should be the same either side. And then, yeah, line me pilot drill up with that, cut that out 50mm, do the same on them all. And then the step on the bush, if I make it slightly smaller than the hole, then I have a bit of tolerance of moving it around. And I can put a pin through all the way, get them all lined up, and then, yeah, weld them around the outside and around the inside. And then that's repairing the worn hole in this plate and also giving it some extra thickness, because they're not really thick enough for the job that it's doing. If they were, it wouldn't have elongated them like that. These nuts probably weren't tight enough either, which wouldn't have helped. If they were tight, then the pin wouldn't have moved so much in this hole, whether they've come undone over time. But yeah, I think that's the way I'm going to do it, or I'm going to try and do it. If that's going to chatter too much and not cut properly, at least I've sort of got a circle marked somewhere near around the centre of that hole, and then if need be I can use the first few teeth marks as a template to cut out with the plasma. So I'll get these bits cut off first, and then we'll go from there. Right, so that doesn't really work with a mag drill. I forgot how fast that mag drill goes round, and there's no way of slowing it down. And it's going better with a battery drill, but it's sort of gone off the mark where I wanted it. So I might get the plasma out and plasma around that hole that it started to do. Use that as a guide. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be super accurate. Like I said, because the bit I'm going to put in will be smaller anyway, and then it'll be to fill up with weld from the inside. The other option I did think of as well was to use that bar and line bar it. I thought that was a bit overkill. By the time I've set it all up, got it mounted to line bar it, and then I would only have done what was the same I'm going to do anyway and make some bushes to weld on. So, and it's nearly too big, is that bar. That's 30 mil, and the hole was supposed to be 30 mil. So I've just found this, which is a 30mm pin and about the right size head on it. So I'll put that in there, draw around it, and then I'll just use that to mark where I need to cut out. I suppose I could make something like that to run the plasma torch around, but it'd just be quicker just to do it by hand, I think, providing I can see where my black mark is. Right, I've got 4 of them machined, so 30mm hole in them, 60mm OD, and then that bit is 45mm, and then they'll go in there like that. Weld them around there, weld around there. They won't clean it up yet, obviously. So with these, I was going to mill a bit out. I was going to make the ones on the outside where the bolt goes through, just using the nut as an example, but I was going to make them deeper and then mill it out for the flats. But I thought there's not really going to be that strong, just that bit and that bit left to stop the bolt turning. It'll soon just snap them off, I think. So what I might do instead is machine a washer out that's bigger than that with a hex in the middle, and then weld that onto the washer, and then that'll stop the bolt turning, and then weld that onto there afterwards. Right, so I've just cut one of them out that I weld onto them other collars that I've just made. So then that'll hold the bolt like that. Just want cleaning up a little bit with a die grinder where the lead in and lead out is. It does go in if you knock it in. So yeah, so I'll cut another, well, I want another one for this and then the other 2 holes. So I'll cut another 3 of them out. Right, we've got the bar through there then, got them collars on and bushes on, so there is a bit of movement. So I've got them sat under there, so that should be parallel, providing this has all been made square. And then I just need to make sure it's going to be right that way. So I'll probably tack this one in first, and I'm not quite sure where to measure off. Whether I'll maybe get a measure centres from there to there. Ideally, you want it to be like from there to there, but depends whether this carriage is square in the frame, in the trailer, in the chassis. But yeah, I'll get one side tacked in and then we'll work out from there. Right, so I've got them tacked on now, I've got the pin out, so there shouldn't be any clearance issues, plenty of space there between there. There's nothing on this inside for it to catch on, so that should be fine. I've just noticed that that plate there is actually thinner than that. That's 12mm. And then that's only 10mm. I just noticed that was sticking out more because I've machined them both for 12mm. Not that it's going to be an issue because I think there's plenty of clearance in there anyway. Or if there isn't, I can soon grind that off. But why would you use 10mm plate instead of 12 when that is the main pivot for the main arm? But anyway, we'll get them welded on now. Weld around the outside and then I can get in there and fill in that as well. It's not very often I have to weld anything like this, so I might just have a bit of a practice first on a bit of scrap. Make sure I get my settings right. Nothing worse than dodgy looking weld. So that's then welded on. We've got them welded round on the inside as well. It's not the neatest of welding. I don't know where to do another run over the top of them or not. I started from the bottom and it's worked my way up, so it should be nice and strong. That was my practice that I did. I've gone over that twice. I think I need to hold more on the outside, but when you're doing it, it feels like you're holding there too long as it is. It's just all practice. Yeah, I might do another one over them. Anyway, we'll leave them for now, and we'll take these pins out. I'll take these bolts out, get them rams out of the way, see what them holes are like, and then maybe do the same with them. There is another hole underneath, but that one's never been used, so I won't worry about that one. I lined that bar up, I went off that because you see this is out further at this side than it is at that side. That is below that, where that is proud of that, so I couldn't measure off there. It is quite loose, is that when I give it a wiggle, you see it's quite worn. Now they aren't quite as bad, but they're still worn, especially with it being the ram. That little bit there will correspond with quite a lot when it's right up to the top. So yeah, we might as well. I'll do the same with them as what I've done with them. Exactly the same. It might be a bit tight for space in there. I think it should still fit in. I might just have to cut it out from this side if I can get in with the plasma torch. Let's see, anyway, should be alright. So yeah, I'll make some bits up in the lathe again, same as them first, and then cut them out and weld them in at the same time. Right, I've got another 4 of them machined, and then I've got them welded on. I've also got them cut out, so these are just ready to go on there, the same as them now. So I'll put the bar through again, tack them in with the bar through, and then weld them round. Should be enough room in there, I think, to get that one in. And again, there shouldn't be any clearance problems down there, and then there shouldn't be any clearance issues here because that is the furthest point out. So yeah, I've got them welded round. The only issue I have with these is I can't physically get my head in there to weld around the back to see. So I've only got half of them welded in. And obviously I've got welded all the way around in there. But what I might do is move this back to there. It might be a bit tricky because that ram will be in the way. But then I might be able to reach up through there and see to weld around the back of them. But there was a good gap to fill in there anyway, so there's plenty of weld on the inside. And then on the outside, still not the best looking weld. I might go over them again. But yeah, there's a lot more for it to go at now. So that's 25mm is the bit, and then there's a bit welded on the end. So yeah, that bit's 25mm plus a bit of plate. So there's a lot more there now. And these pins, well, I reamed them out to 30mm. I'm not quite sure how close to 30mm a 30mm bolt is. So there might still be a little bit of slack on them. These a bit worn, but a lot better than what they were. So I'll have to get some new bolts ordered. M30 10.9s. So at least they're decent bolts. Yeah, so apart from that little bit of extra welding around the back of there, that bit's done now. So, but while it's still in here, I'll do the welding that needs doing on the chassis. I haven't had proper had a look underneath yet, but where the cracks are, and then once I've got them welded up, this bit can go out, and then I'll bring the other bits in and get them sorted. It's just not really enough space. It's difficult working around it. But yeah, that's it for this week. That's all I've got time for. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.